Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
Jesus. I'm Todd Pleasant, and now over to Barry K with sports.
He's Barry K.
That's Barry K.
And here's Brian Mix.
With the weather. Hey now.
Hey. Okay, everybody.
That hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're doing it a little bit different recording, so Barry just loses it.
It's probably been 100 shows since I cracked up like that. I don't know. Feels like
That's
anyway.
not true. It's been like
13
shows.
Tops.
Anyway, it's Tuesday, and I'm glad I'm recording, so I don't have to watch Flash.
Once again.
But Brian's here. We're going to talk about Justice League, the Snyder cut. We'll see if we get to something else.
We may get to other things. We'll see.
We might, or we might not.
We'll see. We'll do some random. Thank you, Brian. So everyone's still working from home, right? Except for Todd. Brian, you're still home?
I actually drove into the office today, but yeah, I'm mostly at home.
Okay. We'll see when that changes. Hopefully not soon, unless you want to.
Dave's like, oh, damn it. I might have to see people soon.
Oh, God, I hope I never see people again. For what? What do I need them for?
Well, the best part about going to the office now is it's like the Omega Man, right? There's empty,
nobody
there but you.
You're
right?
going into little mini fridges and looking at the food that someone's leftover meal from last March.
It's just those damn hippie zombies that'll get you there. Okay, so we're going to do that. Let's go some random. We probably have something, all of it, that's hot off the presses.
Yes. You want to do it, Dave? Go for it.
Okay. So, Black Widow moves from May to July 9th, and it will be in theaters and Disney Plus for a premium charge.
Premium access, yeah.
At the same time. So, I'm surprised they went there.
I don't think they had a choice.
But they moved it back. Was it moved back far enough? I guess they're hedging their bets. And again, this is based on nothing. I have no inside information, but I don't think they can move it back much further than that. They're stacking themselves up to the point where there's just too many movies. And I think they've got to get it out. They're hoping that by July, there's enough vaccinations out there that people will go, and the people that won't will pay $30 to watch it at home. I mean, I'm already thinking it's for me to go. It cost me $100 to take my family to that movie. It cost me $30 to watch it at home. I don't know why I would go to the movies to watch it.
And Barry, the screen at the theater is smaller, so
well, I'm now extra glad I built the home theater. Yeah. But that could be that could be the weekend you guys come over and we all watch that movie together.
We could actually do it. We could do our gift exchange.
Finally.
So. I think it's exactly that. I think they have a market either way. They know they're going to make money either way. They also know that the MCU movie machine has been on hold for a year now.
And there's like Feige said, there's probably stuff. Maybe it's on the television shows that is going to start.
Yeah. You know, like when there's fog, they have the airplanes circling the airport. It's like superheroes right now, just kind of going around
and they're running, and all the planes are running
for
out
a chance
of
to
fuel.
land their film.
Yeah, they need to land because they're running out of fuel.
But why? Exactly. Why push it back? Maybe to give themselves enough of a chance to.
I think they're taking a shot. They're looking for that window, and if it's not there, they got to go ahead with it.
And based on what all the projections, a lot of people will be vaccinated by then. This might be the movie that gets people back to the theater. But even if it doesn't, they've got to get it out.
Also, based on current trends, I think they'll do okay in some parts of the country, and they won't do so well in other parts of the country because some people.
But in those parts, they'll get $30 or whatever. I mean, I'm saying $30. I don't know. I don't think they've announced yet what it is.
30. No, I think
it is. Oh, it is. Okay, I didn't know that. What I thought was a little interesting.
Like if I'm vaccinated and theaters are open, I can't say now. Like I can't see going to Alamo ever again and having people lined up next to me.
I want to be vaccinated in an area with an extremely high concentration of people who are vaccinated.
That's the thing you don't know, and I do not trust the fucking assholes in this country will get vaccinated.
And if we're in an area that's hitting upwards of 60-70%, I think you're a whole lot better off.
But that's the thing. You're never going to know. You're never going to know who's sitting next to you is vaccinated or not.
And you never know before who had Ebola or whatever else.
Well, I tend not to travel to third world countries to see movies, but
well, again,
I like to go to the country where the movie is based to watch my movies. So
in my business, there's a lot of trade shows that are coming up live person to person in June. June seems to be the target for most of these trade shows. I think July is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah. Well, what I did find interesting was they released what I think is a new image for a new poster today with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but people are saying like even Black Widow looks like she's saying enough already. Just put out the damn movie in this picture.
Is that a new picture?
I think it is. She doesn't look happy in the poster. So
it's not a new picture. It's on the back of an action figure I've got from last
year. Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll all see it one way or another. I mean, I would like to see it in a movie, even though I have a big screen. Maybe I'll do both. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's going to do well no matter what. It's just like I said. I think it's a good sign. I honestly, this is encouraging to me because I was starting to put that movie being in a theater along with like actually seeing the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, because it just keeps getting backed up, and I think this is with the dual release. I think this kind of firms it up. I think this is the last time we're going to see a move. So
that movie was its original launch date May of last year, or was
May
it
of 2020? Yeah,
2020. So it's going to be 14 months late.
Oh, it's crazy.
With the big screen I've got and getting so used to it, I'm kind of with Barry. It's like for the cost, it's like, if the movie doesn't have wars in the title or maybe Galaxy in the title, I'm not going to go to the theater. Why?
Yeah.
And
let's face it, we're all dudes in our 50s. We can pee anytime we want when it's at home. So,
I enjoy the theater experience, but I just don't know if July is the right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Either one way or another, we get to see it finally. So at least we now know we have a date when we can all see it one way or another.
Barry, just to rewind for a second, do you enjoy the theater experience? Because I've been thinking about this myself. Honestly, it's like sticky seats and like all this kind of the person talking the idiot talking next to you.
See, I don't go to that theater.
But what I'm saying is still, it's like I'm wondering if, given the real world, given the option of paying a larger chunk of money and seeing it at home, whether this is going to radically change things.
When I typically go to the movies, and it's a rare occasion when I don't do this anymore, if I go to the X Plus Theater at my local multiplex, where it's stadium seating in big reclined seats. It's the best Dolby Atmos surround system. It's a huge screen. It's a great experience. I love it.
It's your living room plus is what it is.
It's beyond my living room. Yeah. I mean,
I will 95% of the time go to the Alamo. And I think in 19, I went one time to see something at the regular movie theater near me. There is a ton of commercials before it.
Yep.
There are people talking. The Alamo will throw you out if you talk. And that's why I travel 40 minutes to go to the Alamo.
Now here's the other wild card here that we have to think about. These guys have been bleeding money. And I mean the theaters more so than the movie studios. But when I make the decision to go to this higher price theater, because those tickets cost more than the regular theater, what is it going to cost to go to a movie when this is all over? Yeah. I mean, are the theaters is it going to be $25 for me to go to that theater now instead of $18?
They can't try to make it back up in a short period of time like that, because they're going to drive people, because people have other options at this point. So
I bet it goes the other way. I bet they have discounts for the first month.
Yeah. I think so too. I think getting people back in those seats is going to cost them money, but they're going to need to do that because
or they're going to try to make it up at the concession stand. I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm talking about New York.
$10.
I think, where you are, Todd, might be a slightly different situation. I'm expecting the prices to have gone up by the time this reopens.
The nice theater near where I am. The problem with the nice theater where I am is it's in a town with 5 colleges. Okay, 5 colleges in the surrounding area, and so it's hard getting tickets when stuff opens up, and that's what the crowd is. So it is a nice theater, though, like I said, but still, I can't see that market. You saying, when 20% of our market is college students, doubling the price of a ticket and that being sustainable.
I'm not thinking they're going to double it, but the nice theater in my area, regular theater was like $13 or $14. This was like $18.
That's a lot.
So it was like $5. I know it was a lot.
Alamo's,
when
I went 15.
When I went with 5 people, that's what I'm saying. It cost me $100 to go to the movies with my family for $30, and I can, we could buy a crap ton of candy and whatever they want, and it's still way cheaper for me to watch it on my.
I got to stop. I got my candy shelf. I've been eating it. I got Juji
Theater
fruits.
Culture has been evolving in this country for over 100 years, and it is a very different thing than the way it started out. It's going to be. I think the Alamo boutique kind of thing is going to be a lot more the way a lot of things go.
Bottomless bucket of popcorn.
And I think we're going to lose the middle. I think there's going to be, like the big bulk kind of theater thing, and then there's going to be the niche thing. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of the small theaters in between are not going to be sustainable. But it's we'll see. It is a market uniquely hit by this past year.
Let's go random more. Todd, go ahead. What do you got?
I think I forgot. I think honestly I had something else, but it was so long ago now.
Someone else can go.
You know what? I'm just going to hold mine because it'll probably make more sense when we talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I got one quick thing. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but anyways, they recast the original Batwoman character.
Oh, that was mine. So go ahead.
Seriously? You didn't even finish the season. Yes. So now they have a new actress to play the person who's not Batwoman.
Right out of a soap opera. She's was in a horrific accident and is all bandaged up. And
oh my God!
Reveal
yes. Hey, they were going to do this in Dallas when Larry Hagman was asking for too much money.
Wait a second. The Batwoman that they just recast, they're recasting again?
No, they didn't recast. They brought a new character in and made her Batwoman.
But the old character who played
the old
Kate
character
Keane,
has now been recast.
Who was missing?
And
can't they just cancel it? Can't they just cancel the damn show?
In a plane crash. Well, I think part of
this
is
watching it, Todd.
I am not still watching it.
Is anyone watching this show?
Wait, Todd gave up on a show. Todd gave up on a show.
I haven't watched
we have a moment.
I haven't watched this or Flash yet, but they're still stacking up.
Wait, so have you just not watched it yet, or have you given up on watching it? Those are two different things.
Barry, ultimately I'm going to watch everything.
I watched the first episode of the season, and it wasn't that bad.
Really?
No, it was bad. I like the new Batwoman character, the freaking evil Alice or whatever. You know how in Flash the whole season is one thing, they spread it out over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But so not only is the original character who played Batwoman is recast, she was, at least on her picture, she's a blonde. So she was in a disfiguring accident, and your hair goes from brown to blonde.
Hair can be dyed.
The picture they had was, I think, from when she was in Krypton.
So she's from another DC property.
So, yeah, kind of, sort of.
Anyways,
interesting that they're trying to do that. And I think part of that is, like I said, there's always, we talked about this before, whenever they kill a gay character, there's a huge backlash about killing a gay character. And it's why, Discovery took a lot of flack over the Hugh Culber character being killed, and there's been pushback over this. So now they unkill her and they just move her to the sidelines. So we'll see.
Okay, Barry, what do you got?
I'm holding. So
whatever your name is, Brian. This has been going on so long, I don't remember what's going on.
I've got a new item from Eagle Moss.
Yes, that was. God damn it! Yes, go. That was my other thing.
Eagle Moss is coming out with a 1/8 scale Batmobile.
Totally not my thing.
Totally not your thing. So
Which one?
1/8 scale. Wow.
1/8 scale.
It's a model
Batmobile.
though. It's one of their build your own things.
Build your own. Yeah, it's one of the subscription model kits. And I've been sucked into a few of these now. And
1/8 though.
I know, but it's almost 30 inches long and 1/8. 1/6 would be.
I bet you a 1/6 scale figure would look pretty at home in that vehicle.
And Barry, the model kits you're building are all 1/8 scale, right?
Yeah.
So those will fit right in with this guy. But it's 2.5 years of one kit a month to build it.
That's like the Millennium Falcon model that I built.
It's just like that. And I've got the Millennium Falcon. I've got an Aston Martin DB5. I did the Thunderbird 2.
You did? Wow.
You're not doing the Enterprise D, are you?
No, not my favorite starship.
Yeah.
No, but I may have to do this Batmobile. It's a long slog, but
so it's
the nice thing about this is that unlike one of the like the Millennium Falcon as an example, they said you didn't need to paint it, but you kind of did. This you don't need to paint this. This is coming.
No, their kits. The DB5 is awesome. No paint needed at all.
Yeah, they said that about the Falcon, but if you had built the Falcon stock, it wouldn't have looked right.
Barry learned an entire skill set to paint that ship.
Yes, I did.
So.
How many months are they? 2.5 years?
2.5 years. Yeah.
Each month, 2.5 years. That's
2.5 years at about $50 a month. Yeah, I know it adds
it's
up.
More than that.
You don't notice it when they're bleeding you a little at a time.
It's $60 a month. So that's what? 20? How many months? That's 30 months.
I think it's maybe
it's
it's
$60 a month roughly.
Yeah.
So 12 and 12 is 24, and 6, 30. 30 times 60.
Well, and if you pay a little bit extra,
pay
a little bit extra, they give you the display base and the acrylic cover to go over it.
How much was did they ever make the Hot Toys Batmobile?
No, they didn't.
They never did.
Those things were like running $600.
It's probably why they didn't make it, because they knew they couldn't make any money out of it.
Yeah.
But the Tumbler they made.
They did make the Tumbler, and they made the 89 Batman.
89 Batman.
Batmobile.
Yeah.
And they made did they make a Ghostbusters thing?
They didn't. Another company did.
Eagle Moss also has the Ecto 1 kit as well.
Yeah.
That's right. They do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Blitzway made a 1/6 scale Ecto 1.
Oh, but 1,800's a lot. That's a lot of money for that.
Yeah, it's a lot. But it's really, I've dreamt about building a 1/6 scale Batmobile, but when you start looking at the actual size of that thing, this might scratch the itch.
That's cool.
Wow. 37 inches. I mean, that's a big vehicle.
In other Eagle Moss news that probably very few people will care about, but I do, and I know Sean does, because Sean was the one that told me about this, is they're now doing a series of Eagles from Space 1999, and including some of the very cool variants that they did. And so anyways, that's coming.
That's cool. Which scale are they doing them in?
They're about 8 inches long. So I
so it's like the large scale, not like the XL scale. That's a good scale. I would get one of those.
I'll get one of those too.
It is one of the, I gotta say, it's probably, I was talking to Sean about the other day, and I said it's one of my favorite realistic spaceship designs from ever, because it's very practical, looking at it in a lot of respects. And Brian Johnson, who worked in Aliens and Star Wars and
from AC/DC
2001, not the same Brian Johnson. Anyways, designed it. It's
1612 has a whole bunch of Eagle models coming out as well. So it's like all of a sudden the license is everywhere and everybody's making.
And those are very expensive, and this is going to be a much more about less than half that price point. So, but I've been looking at those and coveting, and I've got a Project Enterprise one, which is just beautiful, and but I could find room for 3 more. So
cool. All right, let's assume there's no more random, because we've gone on for I don't even know much time.
Barry's got something in the pocket, right?
What?
I'm saving it. For next time.
Next time. Okay. You know who's not long-winded and talking too much? Fanboy Collectibles. Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Hot Toys Winter Soldier from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Can't imagine Falcon's too far behind, but
maybe not. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I mean, there's been a couple of Falcons. There hasn't been that many.
Has there been more than one?
Same number.
Yeah.
There's two other Winter Soldiers, and there's 2 other Falcons.
Do you guys have Winter Soldiers? I don't.
I do not.
I have the Endgame one, and but this one's cool.
This head sculpt looks amazing.
I think depending on how I feel at the end of the series, dumb. Of course, I'm going to love it.
I I may have to get it.
Yeah, I think I got to get this too.
And
also, it's not till like late fall 2022.
So you got time to save your pennies. Okay, Star Ace Kraken. That one's for you, Barry.
Holy
it's
crap!
Not the Kraken
did you look at how big it is?
It's big. It's like 13
massive.
inches long or something.
Awesome. I might need that.
112, the Mezco 112 Destro. That looks pretty good for you G.I. Joe fans out there.
Yeah.
And Hot Toys from the new Justice League version, Nightmare, Batman, and Superman 2-pack. That's a lot going on in that.
Yeah, that's a lot going on, but it's
a lot going on there. With, I think Batman has 3 lower faces, and there's 2 Superman heads. So you get a lot for your money there. So check them out, fanboycollectibles.com, at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Okie dokie. Justice League, the Snyder Cut. I know.
Here we go.
We last week talked about rewatching the original cut on Barry's behest to see if we thought it was better than we did. And I think we all did. We haven't heard from Brian. So you two, you saw Justice League when, and then you just rewatched it?
I saw Justice League in the theater when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And poo-pooed it like everyone else. Watched it again 4 or 5 days before the Snyder Cut came out. And I realized I remembered almost nothing.
Yeah, I remembered very little.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
And it's funny. The one thing I remembered most clearly, they cut completely out of the new version. the Superman and the Flash racing at the end. That was stuck in my mind. Of course, it's gone. I liked it more than I thought I would. Seeing it again, I like one of you guys had mentioned in the last show. I was remembering a lot of Superman versus Batman.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually in this movie.
Also, I think when you take the disappointment off the table, you can stomach it a little better.
When the bar is
once your expectations have been properly
this
set.
is like the 10 o'clock movie.
There's only one way to go.
At the bar. It's 10 o'clock at the bar.
That's right.
It's like
I felt I was able to follow it better. I mean, I guess you sort of had the experience of what the whole story is, and it made more sense now when you. But anyway, so
but that said, I think we probably all had the same reaction as Brian. Is we didn't remember a lot of it. So
I didn't remember what you're saying, but I think we all remembered it as being worse than it actually is.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Oh, it's bad. It's just not terrible.
It's got the classic, superhero movies are only as good as the bad guy. Yep. Right. And the bad guy in that version was really weak.
Yeah. Extraordinarily weak.
Extremely weak.
And when a movie is 75% build up and then it's got nowhere to go.
And well, both movies have the problem of Superman comes in way too late.
Yep.
It's like Justice League. You'll get any Justice League comic book, and on the cover, the man in the middle is Superman.
Yeah.
The rest of the guys are behind him, and that was the problem.
But chronically, in every Justice League comic, whenever they face a villain, that person figures out early on how to knock Superman out, because otherwise there's no story.
Right.
So
because he's Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've set that. So now Justice League, the Snyder Cut. I don't know how we're doing this. Do we want to go first impressions? Barry's licking his chops. Barry, why don't you get ahead? This was all your fault. So
this is all my fault. And I've gone on record in the past as saying I'm not a DC kid. I didn't grow up a DC kid. So
let's not get hung up on Todd in the comics.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I don't have the affinity for Batman that you guys clearly have.
That's wrong.
I mean, I like Batman, but it's not. I don't dress up like Batman. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the affinity for it.
Well, if you had this body, you would share it.
I don't own how many Batman T-shirts, Todd? Like, that's not me.
Okay.
I'm that way about other things. So this has never been, but
just to be clear, if this is just like an entree to shit on Batman, this isn't going to go well. So go ahead.
No, the best thing about this movie is Batman. But so I went deep. Obviously, I rewatched the original cut a couple weeks back. I convinced you guys to do the same. Leading up to this movie, I watched Man of Steel. I watched Batman vs Superman, the extended version, and then I watched Snyder Cut. So I watched 10 hours of DC movies.
Did you also saw
hours.
strips of your flesh off?
No. So I know we're going to limit this, so I'll try to go quick. I've never had the problem with Man of Steel that you guys did, and actually enjoyed it a lot more this time. I think that all the destruction and everything we've complained about, it's all there, but it bothered me less. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The extended version of Batman vs. Superman is a much better movie. There's nothing you can do to fix the Martha problem, but outside of that, it's a much better movie. And it was a great setting the stage because I wanted to see if, just like in the Marvel movies, there are little things that you pick up on that are callbacks to other movies. Yeah, go ahead, hold up all your crystal skulls. I wanted to see if there were callbacks to the other movies that I wouldn't have remembered had I not watched all of them right away. That said, I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't think it felt like 4 hours. I thought the pacing of it was actually really good. I mean, it felt long, but it didn't feel like the longest movie I've ever watched. We watched it in one sitting. I mean, we stopped it twice, but we watched it basically in one sitting. And I enjoyed it. I thought the story was good. I really regret that we're not going to get, more of this group of actors working together, because I thought it was, this fixed a lot of the problems. I mean, it's still got all the Joss Whedon-isms to it, but a lot of the problems I had with the previous version, I thought it resolved. So I was overall very pleased. I'll stop there and let somebody else talk.
Interesting.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay, we'll go at the other end of the spectrum.
I'm not a hateful guy. I wrote, there were some good things about it, and there were some bad things about it. First, obvious, the Steppenwolf effects totally were fixed much better. I did like them hinting or bringing in Darkseid, because they sort of said it once in the original cut and you didn't really get what he was talking about, so they sort of brought it in. I don't blame the movie on this, but it felt very much like Ronin and Thanos, but it is what it is. That's just the way.
Establishing him as a aggrieved middle manager was a good plot point.
Yeah, there you go. I thought, while totally useless, I liked them bringing in Martian Manhunter. I thought that was kind of cool, because it served no purpose, but it was cool to see him. The characters are still solid. And that's what I liked about. I like Batman. I like Superman. The Flash was good. I liked Aquaman. I certainly liked Diana. That didn't really change. I think I liked them better in the other one because there's just too much. Maybe I have a couple of bad points. The aspect ratio thing is bullshit.
What the hell was saving that?
I was saving that, but yeah.
Here's what Warner Brothers did. Warner Brothers was a husband and cheated on their wife with Joss Whedon, then felt bad about it, and then handed their wife $100 million and said, "Hey, do what you want. We're really sorry." And the fact that
I told you, Dave, this is why they called it the Snyder cut. Because he cut the borders off both edges of the film.
You just built a platform that people are paying money for to watch in their 65 and bigger screens, and you let the guy do it in a smaller aspect ratio. That served zero purpose.
It saved them a crap load of money on CGI.
So let Dave finish his thoughts, and then let's talk about this aspect ratio thing once we've all gotten our...
The length was... You want to know? I like a long movie. I'm not one of these people who likes an hour and a half movie. I like a 2.5. 4 hours is ridiculous. You don't make a movie better by just making it as long as you want. Stupid. And I felt like none of it added to the story. None of the extra time added to the story. I could go on and on. I'll put these through in as we talk more, but I have a lot of other stuff I didn't like about it. Like I said, I enjoyed rewatching the other one, and I enjoyed this far less.
So your preferred version is the
I don't think this other than the special, other than the three things, or the really two, the really one. I mean, I could take or leave Darkseid, but the Steppenwolf effects were horrific in the first one. Had they had these effects, I think that movie would have been a half a notch better than it was. So I don't think, but there's nothing that added to the story for me. Who else wants to go?
Brian.
I'm in the middle. This was better than the Whedon cut. However, it was too long. This movie would be even better at 3 hours. It could have been great at 3 hours.
It didn't need to be 4. 4 is
I like some of the backstory stuff because I don't read I didn't read DC comics as a kid, so I didn't know who these all the backstory and all these characters. It wasn't as dark as I thought it was going to be. It was dark, but I thought it was going to be really dark. Some of the humor still made it in, which means
I was surprised that I didn't think they left enough.
Joss Whedon apparently didn't write every joke in the movie because there was some stuff left in it. I'm assuming since he never even saw the Whedon cut, he never even looked at any of that footage.
It's bullshit that he never saw it. But he supposedly he didn't use any footage whatsoever that he shot. So
Superman came in too late, like I said earlier.
Much later in this cut.
I know. It's like, come on, Superman, come on. I was hoping he'd come in earlier because it was so long. I thought maybe they'll bring him in earlier and do more with him.
I felt like we saw less of him in this cut.
I bet percentage-wise, it probably was less because it was 4 hours long. He's only in the last half hour. Let's see. A Martian Manhunter. It really bummed me out, almost upset me that they set up a sequel that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like they showed us this stuff that's never going to happen. And the whole Martha Kent turning into the Martian Manhunter as he walks out of the apartment. It's like, what the hell was that about? And it was
the scene they could throw away to stick it in there.
They did.
Yeah.
Completely
seeing him was cool, but it was useless.
You have a heartfelt scene between Clark's would-have-been widow and his adopted mother that is on some level meaningful that you just kick to the curb so that you can, really, he's just a shapeshifting thing.
The part of me thought, like, I felt that, but then part of me, like, this guy's obviously a general. They know how, Lois Lane's important, and she needs to get out of her own.
Lois Lane was much better handled in the Whedon version.
I do agree with that.
Did not like Lois in this version, and the fact that she happened to be at the
that's one of the other points I made. I thoroughly
the statue when he showed up was ridiculous. I liked it much better than Alfred and Batman went and got her as their backup plan.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I would not. Batman has this thing, especially from his stupid dreams of, I guess, Lois died or something, and that's
right. Yeah.
And he has this in the back of his head. He would not resurrect Superman without talking to Lois first.
Dave, let Brian finish.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So I can get my turn.
I would love, and some fan's going to do it, and I'll go watch it. It'll be a 3.5 or 4 hour version of the two mixed together. I think that would be a blast.
Topher Grace will do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It'd be fun to see the Whedon humor mixed in with the better effects of this movie and some of the backstory. That's it. That's all I got. In between you guys, liked it better. Wasn't great, but now it's a good movie. I'll give it that. Although I don't know if I'm gonna sit down and watch it again anytime soon. And my personal new rating system is how often have you seen a movie? That's how good is it? How many times have you watched it?
Yeah.
And this one's not going to be very high on that list.
There's some movies though that I think would defy that. I think where there's an initial experience, the initial experience is so significant that, like,
Endgame is 3 hours. It doesn't feel like 3 hours though.
I will say, okay, so my turn now officially.
Go for it.
I think the first 3.5 hours were worthwhile. Having half an hour of epilogue was absurd. I think this whole project, you can't look at this like a film. I mean, this whole project was about redemption. And I think he redeemed his vision with this. Okay. That does not mean I like his vision or I thought it was reasonable or responsible to the characters. But I think he told the story that more or less that he wanted to tell. And that was a better story than we got. I still like, okay. So we no one's really mentioned Cyborg. We got a lot more Cyborg. Okay. We got Cyborg's whole backstory and all that. And that's great, but they made all that shit up for this movie. Okay. This isn't Cyborg's backstory.
I thought the 10-minute one you got in the other movie was plenty.
But again, that's what I'm saying. So they have made a big deal out of, oh, he got shortchanged and now Cyborg's got a full backstory and all this. Yes, but they made it up for the movie and tied it into the plot needlessly. Okay. So I think the best things about this were the best things about the other film. I think Wonder Woman and I think the Batman bits, and I felt shortchanged by both of them. I still think, like I said, it would have been a whole lot more interesting to see an older Batman film. I think for whatever reason, Wonder Woman is the most accurately represented character here. And I think her motivations seemed to be who she was. Her faults seemed to be who she was. It didn't seem like they did any of the Snyder-esque folding, spindling of the characters' motives to make something work on screen, which they did with everybody else. It's like, I will not join you. Absolutely not whatsoever. Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I'll do it now. Aquaman. It's like, it just, yeah, it's stuff like that. The other thing is, maybe as a young child, Snyder was traumatized by a super being. Okay. But Jesus Christ, does every single film have to be about the possibility of Superman being evil? Okay. Is the first thing that you think of when you see this person rescuing someone or doing something heroic, oh my God, it's going to be really bad when he turns evil. Are we that cynical now as a society that we can't look at this paragon of heroism who's existed for 80 years and not imbue it with the, oh, what if he turned evil thing that you do in the later sequels when you have nothing else to.
It's a different world now than when that character was created.
I'm sorry. I think you
I disagree with that entirely.
Go do another movie.
Barry, why you're wrong is Captain America. Okay? Because they didn't have to scuff up Captain America and make him a different person to sell him an audience.
I disagree.
Had to do that.
If you want to
do that to
boys,
Superman.
go make the boys. Go make the boys.
This is what I'm saying.
All right, just give me 1 second to give you a counterpoint, because we're all talking over each other. Captain America is not an alien from another planet with infinite power. Okay? He was a guy that was given superhuman strength, but he's not from another world, which freaks a lot of people out, and with powers beyond, any comprehension, who, if he chose to be bad, could destroy everything. That's not who Captain America is. They're completely different.
When did people start being freaked out by Superman being alien? Because for 70 years, Luthor kept saying, look, over there, that guy's an alien. And people are like, really? That's fine. He's saving my cat.
It's a different perspective, given a modern spin on how probably people would react if that were what somebody who showed up here from another planet with that kind of power. Not everybody would just go, "Oh, he's here to do good. Thank God."
Oh no, I know that. What I'm saying is, we have a Superman that we had like a 15-minute exposure to as Superman. Okay, and most of that was crushing buildings, and then some people revere him as a god, but most people are afraid of him. There's kind of a mix between the thank God he's dead and the, oh, should we rebuild the statue? Oddly,
I don't know. I have a different perspective. I also just watched Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman.
I did too. And so Snyder built a world where Batman was Batman for 20 years and Superman was Superman for 15 minutes, during which Batman noticed he existed and decided that he was a threat. Wanted to kill him
by some dopey letters from some guy.
Wanted to kill him.
It was ridiculous.
Then changed his mind and committed his entire life and the future of the universe to reviving him. Okay, it's like there was just these, like I said, these. Batman is very analytical. He's not like, oh, I really should kill Superman. Oh, I should do everything I can to bring him back because we're screwed without him now. But the second I lay my head down the pillow, I'm going to have a nightmare of a apocalyptic version of the future where he's evil.
You can keep saying it. What I liked about watching them all in order that way was you got, and we've talked about how much the destruction at the end of Man of Steel was probably the wrong way to go, and how it affected us negatively. But when you then watch right after that, the next movie where that whole same sequence is happening, but from a different perspective, I, at least as a viewer, was able to see why Bruce Wayne felt the way he did, because he is on the ground. None of them know what's really going on. All they see is everything's being destroyed around them. They see two people flying around, trying to kill each other. Laser beams are shooting through buildings. He's trying to get to his building to save people. And everywhere he goes, he's being thwarted. And they're watching the destruction from the ground, not really knowing what the hell's going on. I think given who he was and given his, where his mind was, he then said, I've done this for 20 years. My new mission is I've got to stop this guy.
But the point is, Superman wouldn't let that happen. That's
right.
What was wrong about it. Superman would avoid that destruction.
We have a world where Superman's entire career was roughly 1 year. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just
the portrayal of Superman has been the downfall since Man of Steel.
Exactly what I was going to say.
The problem with Superman,
all of these movies is they broke Superman. They completely broke that character.
And if they had followed Man of Steel up with a heroic Superman,
okay, we would have taken him somewhere else to fight.
A Superman that we see the way a lot of the other people see him, because the scene where he goes to the Day of the Dead festival and rescues the person, and all these people are laying hands on him and stuff, that didn't come across as like good. That wasn't like, oh, we're going to feel really good about this now. It's like, he's here to save us. It's like, no, people are deifying him, and that's bad too.
You want bad aliens. That's what General Zod is for. It's evil Superman. You bring
again,
fight Superman. You don't make Superman an evil alien.
And lazy to make a scary superpowered being story. It really is.
It's hard to make Superman all powerful yet vulnerable.
Yeah, but I mean that is, and again, like I said,
that's where he falls short. He needs to make him
away from that story. It's like
half a bad guy.
Well, but keep in mind, he had for what it's worth, he had a 5-movie arc in mind. This was the middle chapter. The next movie, Superman was going to become evil, and in the final movie, he was going to be redeemed. That's
awful. I wouldn't want to see that.
Well, but that's what Snyder was laying out. That's why this movie ends the way it does.
Thought he was evil, realized he wasn't evil, and then make him evil, and then unmake him evil. Again,
it was a bad concept.
It's lazy.
Superman.
Well, call it what it is, but when you are planning on 5 movies and you only get to the third one, you don't get to at least tell your full story. So I'm not saying it would have been better or worse.
6 hours. He got 6 hours to tell this story.
The story was flawed,
and
it's weak filmmaking to make him bad.
In a nutshell, my summation of Snyder is he's a slightly deranged kid playing with action figures. Okay,
he's a spoiled brat, and Warner Brothers spoiled them more.
He's just a kid who's a little bit off playing with action figures, and he's the kid who, if you saw him playing with his action figures this way, you'd book a therapy appointment for him.
Yeah, I will say he makes really beautiful movies.
Yes,
but the story was just I don't know if it was savable. It was a better movie than the first movie, but the story.
Well, and while it was beautiful, the aspect ratio thing really took away from what to me could have been even more beautiful, because it just felt, and I can read the articles about why he did what he did, but
no, is that cinema or IMAX?
It's the ratio? IMAX aspect ratio. He was making it for IMAX, but
it wasn't. IMAX is widescreen.
No, it's not.
No.
IMAX is square.
He's a spoiled brat, and he's like, I'm going to do something different just to do something different. That's everything he does.
They shot the movie in this aspect ratio, and if I were HBO Max, I would have made him make it 16:9. But
absolutely,
to me, that's the biggest problem with this movie. To me was, and I'm reading articles where people are saying, oh, it was great because it was tall and I'm like, no,
it should have been widescreen from the 90s.
Those people all shoot movies on their iPhone vertically.
Yes, exactly. They do.
Can't stand that.
And I will say there are a number of shots in this that you saw when you saw in this aspect ratio, you could see where Whedon had just cropped them. I mean, it was just like, there were things that were full on. There were much taller shots that you're like, oh yeah, we saw.
It's just in this day and age they'll have let him do that.
Well, and I don't know if you read this, but in another week or two, we're getting a black and white version of this because he believes that that's the way it should be watched.
He's a fucking asshole. I swear to God.
HBO Max can have a black and white version.
Tim Burton, in my book.
Wow.
It's wow. That is something.
I clearly liked this movie more than you guys did.
But speaking of the dream sequence, like, you didn't get enough of that in the last movie. He just had to shoehorn this in for absolutely no reason.
And again, this is
no reason whatsoever.
Like, because so we could cram Joker in there,
which was so ridiculous,
absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, I'm sorry, this Batman, a Batman who I mean, again, I've been a Batman fan my entire life. Okay, what's Batman's first rule? What's Batman's absolute first?
Don't talk about Fight Club.
No guns.
Never talk about Fight Club.
No guns.
You don't kill. No guns. Okay, that's it.
And don't you think after Batman resurrected Superman, they saved the universe? Wouldn't he be? Why is he still having these nightmares? Just to shoehorn him in because you didn't get enough of it in your first.
I don't
movie?
know, but what I'm saying is, so now we have a Batman that carries around a 45 auto, has no hesitation to shoot a whole lot of people. Okay.
And every one of his ships has a minigun.
That's right. Every one of his ships has a minigun, but just doesn't pull out the gun and put one between Joker's eyes. Okay, when he's sitting there wearing a vest decorated with dead police badges. Okay, it's like, no. It's just like, it was just one more way we're gonna go for the absolute. We're gonna pitch to the absolute fringiest of the fan base that are just eating this thing up big time. It's the same people that are like today,
or
together.
He was trying to set up what would have been the next movie, and that was the original script he made, and he was making that movie. He made the movie he wanted. The original script that he made had that as the ending. Didn't have the Joker piece in it. That might have been something added, but there was the final dream because 2 years after this movie takes place, Darkseid comes, decimates the Earth, and now they are fighting evil Superman.
So basically making the movie itself pointless.
What makes Superman evil?
Yeah.
Lois Lane dying.
Again.
Right? He's wearing a black costume. Obviously, he's evil.
I know.
No, that's the good Superman. Because in the future, when he's killing everyone, he's wearing the regular costume again.
I hated every Superman costume in all of these movies.
It's like...
It was terrible.
That dream sequence was awful. And I almost was like, okay,
I'm watching this show on CW, and I'm thinking, how can they know who Superman is and Snyder doesn't? Okay, it's like,
I enjoyed this so much more than that Superman TV show.
Okay,
I tried watching Superman and Lois, which it should be called Superman and Lois's Kids.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what it is.
That's the show.
This is what it is. He's backdrop, but still the bare essentials of the character are there. Okay. And they're not here.
Superman is not hard. Right?
No, he's not. He's a hard sell. He's a hard sell, and he's hard to write around, but he's not moody and broody and it's
All right. Changing gears. I also like the way they handled the Flash in the first one than this. You got some backstory that he saved people, but I did like when he was very eager to I'm in, had no clue about what being a hero is, and that whole little Batman thing was like, just go save one person and you'll understand. I like that so much more.
I did too. I actually did. I missed that. I'm glad you said that, Dave, because I forgot that. But I do. That worked. That was the Batman as mentor kind of thing. Just like, okay, I'm going to take it down to this level. Just save one person, and then you'll get it.
He's brand new at this, and this was like, I mean, it's not that interesting. So you save someone, but that whole sequence that replaced that in that wherever they were, that underground thing, was a little awkward, but I really was like, he's a new superhero, didn't know what to do, and he needed some tutelage to be like, you'll understand. This totally pulled that out. I also didn't like the music. I love that. I like that Aquaman when he's dive in off the jetty, and they have that whatever song is.
Yeah.
And now they put like some opera in instead.
Yeah, the music was throughout the whole film was poor.
Yeah.
That was much better in the Whedon version.
Because he just probably those were Joss Whedon rock songs that he put in.
I did like the restoration of the Wonder Woman scene in the bank. I watched that the first time, and I'm like, you see like 12 terrorists go into the bank, and then you see her take out 3 of them, and then the leader. And this one, you see her take out everybody. And
pretty brutally too. I mean, that one guy.
No, she took that guy out. That guy who just tried to kill a group of school children. But yeah, actually, you're right, Barry. It was everybody. Everybody got thrown at walls.
You could see the stain of his brains on the wall.
You saw the dent in the wall and the stain of where his head collapsed.
That's not Wonder Woman.
Oh, I disagree. I think saving school children from terrorists is probably any means necessary.
But I thought it was just a little over the top. That served no purpose.
Yeah, that is also there was too much indestructible creatures fighting each other in this movie. It was bad enough in the first one. It's twice as bad in this one.
Yeah,
it's how many times we have to slam each other into a wall before.
Yeah, I also say I really like the upgrades that Steppenwolf got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, visually and whatever. He was just never menacing enough for me. You know, it was just always like, we got to keep him from doing this was what the thing was. It wasn't like him himself.
I know. They didn't fix the part that we're reviving Superman, but did anyone remember the box that no one's supposed to let out of their sight? And this, like, you could have fixed that because that was stupid. Like, Batman, you're not doing much. Make sure you watch the box.
Yeah.
No one did that.
You haven't got any superpowers. You watch the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We left it on someone's Camry. Sorry, Jim Bush. I know you have a Camry.
I will say the needless, like, we have to rescue the family that tried to live at Chernobyl plot was good getting rid of that. I mean,
that didn't drag that dragged the story down.
It was needless, and I don't know why that was there. I would have forgotten about that if I hadn't seen it, and the two juxtaposed were interesting. It's you can't shortcut this. You can't shortcut the team coming together thing. It's this tried to be Endgame without skipping with skipping or at least Infinity War with skipping the 2 films before that. It really could have been its own thing if they had done this right, and instead they ended up with yet another movie about larger than human scary aliens coming down and trying to destroy the earth.
Well, but they weren't going back. I mean, let's be just keep it in the context of what this was. He wasn't going back to completely remake the movie. He was going back to make his original vision of the movie.
I'm talking about the plot that Marvel spent 10 years developing. They dropped in 3, okay, and their version doesn't look as good.
Yeah, you'd think that knowing Endgame was coming, they would have come up with something besides let's get these 3 things instead of 5 things and put them together and destroy the earth.
Not been able to do the Marvel formula, unfortunately.
Themselves into a corner there.
Okay. You take I'm just do this quick, and then the classic Justice League story is a bunch of villains who are the villains for for different respective characters get together and swap opponents, and therefore are more successful against the people that they don't normally fight. But then you got multiple side stories with multiple different opponents, as opposed to just trying to find one person who's big and scary, like they shoehorned Doomsday into Batman vs. Superman, and they did the same thing in this one. It's like they just need that spectacle of some large monstrous creature or larger than human creature to convey, menace when you're not busy scuffing up Superman.
But that's been Warner Brothers' problem for 20 years. I mean, if you go back to the story of the Superman that they didn't make, where the ridiculous director wanted the enemy to be a giant robotic spider. Like they just wanted a menacing creature. They didn't
Superman's
care about.
Superman's fought a lot of giant robotic spiders over the years. That could have been more interesting in some ways. But
so you're saying that Batman 1966, the movie, got it right. You get all the villains together and you go fight them.
Yeah, and then they like I'm telling you that is your classic going back to the early 60s Justice League plot. No, it's the classic going back to the 1940s Justice Society of America plot, which is the first superhero team plot where everybody switch, the villains switch, you get and this is where honestly I think they were going with the Luthor Deathstroke thing.
Luthor Deathstroke and the Joker, wow. That could have been
again. This is what I'm saying: is there enough characters that you could do very, very brief introduction, montage like introductions to, and then have them again. It just doesn't have to be
this right.
Doesn't have to be a scary alien.
Except for Superman, the portrayal of these characters, I like them all. Batman, Aquaman, Cyborg is fine. I don't, Flash, they all are good. Just they just need to be put in a better story.
And I also will say that I've always been critical of starting with an older Batman, but in some ways you're kind of making him both Batman and Nick Fury at the same time. He's like the guy that brings the team together and then shepherds the team. And that could have worked. That could have worked further on. That he's
$100 million, they said.
He ends up being the guy at the cave that's like calling his shots and stuff. They could have made this work. As he continues to pine after immortal Wonder Woman.
This movie was doomed at the script.
Yeah, I agree.
It had millions of problems along the way. And poor Whedon. I mean, can you imagine getting half this movie and this script and going, here, fix this?
And
I should have taken the money and made another movie.
I was very, very critical of what he did with this. And now, now I go back to like, what did he get handed? Because if they had to shoot a lot of what we just saw,
well, they didn't. I mean, and that's, I think, a misconception. I listened to an interview with Joss Whedon, not Joss Whedon, I'm sorry, with Snyder today. The studio told him he couldn't reshoot anything. He could not shoot a single frame of film. He shot a couple things anyway, even though they told him not to. He reshot the scene with the Martian Manhunter, added the Martian Manhunter because it was originally the way he shot it. It was a Green Lantern or a lantern.
Right.
And they told him you can't have any lanterns in the movie. So he added the Martian Manhunter thing because he needed that scene was shot with Ben Affleck how many ever years ago with a lantern, and he had to use the dialogue and make it work. And that's why they put Martian Manhunter in.
Which is basically, again, they just sifted through what they had, but also, you say they didn't shoot any new stuff, but
well, no, I didn't say that.
But I'm saying, what percentage of this film is CGI? Okay, and a lot of that is new, and a lot of that is different. So
I'm not denying that. I'm just stating a fact. The studio told him not to shoot anything. He said he shot some of it anyway. He did some of it literally in his driveway, and they CG'd a lot of it. But I think he said there were 4,600 CG shots they needed to finish.
Right.
With this movie.
I got to say, I think this is vastly improved over the theatrical version on the CGI, but there's still a lot of very video gamey looking stuff in here. And this whole, again, like every time we're going to fight, it's got to be dark thing. Yeah. Makes me really like one of the best sequences in all the Marvel films was the airport fight in Civil War. Okay. And which was very, very challenging to do because it was in bright sunlight and it was outside and they had to make all this stuff work. It's easier but it's why every DC film,
a lot of the Wakanda stuff was in bright sunlight too. I mean, and that was on an even more massive scale, and that worked well.
What was
the Wakanda fight in?
I know, but I'm saying, but that was also a lot. I mean, it was very clearly, the hordes of people were CGI and all that kind of stuff. But the airport fight was the first time we saw something like that, a full on superhero on superhero battle where, they were smashing planes and all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't at dusk, and it which is, like I said, you juxtapose that with Wonder Woman and Batman versus Superman and all these other DC films where, okay, let's wait till dark to fight. This was more of the same in that regard. So
I guess, I mean, you clearly have more of a sense of, in your mind, what these characters are and what they should and shouldn't do. And I don't come to it with that. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me as much that these aren't the the same characters that you've known for
and Barry, I will say to that is I have more a sense of what these characters aren't. Okay. And that's where it bothers me more. It's like he took a lot of the basic elements of these characters and just kind of pitched them out and went in other directions because it suited what he wanted. And it's that way throughout the whole course of his
vision for what they were. And we're okay with that when it's characters that we don't have an affinity for. If they would have done Guardians of the Galaxy the way they're written on the page, it wouldn't have been a good movie.
I might argue otherwise.
We were happy with the changes they made there.
I might argue otherwise. It might not have been as successful, but it's
Superman's not a bad guy.
Superman's not a bad guy.
No.
And Gotham City is not across the harbor from Metropolis.
No, we know. We've talked about that.
No. But what I'm saying is
where in this movie was Superman a bad guy?
No, this is what I'm saying. But it's the same thing. It is the same. And if Superman, it's like, and if they were across the harbor from each other, they would be more conscious of each other. I mean, it's this whole. He's created this whole universe where suspension of disbelief is the operating principle. Okay. It's like, it's not even like a superhero film where you got to say, okay, you just got to accept this happens and stuff like that. It's like everything we take as given, we're going to throw out because that makes the story more interesting.
They changed it too much for you to be able to enjoy it. It's what I'm hearing. Because I don't care that
and
those
didn't
cities
replace
are
it with something enjoyable.
It means nothing to me because I don't know that they're not.
When you change something for the sake of changing,
that was the problem with the first movie too. I mean, or at least
it's when the next model Jeep is the upholstery on the outside of the car. Okay, we'll talk about that. And it's like there has to be a reason to turn something inside out. Okay. And there is no good reason in this case. It was just he wanted to be.
Well, the reason was he needed it to make the script work. I mean,
he had a vision that he came to with it, and it was very different from what the original vision of these characters were. And it doesn't work. Clearly, doesn't work for everybody.
And you do that at your own peril.
Yeah,
right.
So, okay, so I'll discontinue his argument in just a second. But why the Marvel movies work is they took single one of those characters and distilled them down to the bare essence of who those characters were. Okay, both as individuals and as heroes, and then built up from there. If you got a thumbnail view of somebody, it was true to what the perception of that character was here. And that is not the case with any single character in these films other than Wonder Woman, and they're sketchy around the edges. It's like the other thing.
Well, and that's why the Marvel movies are far more successful and have much wider appeal.
But the other thing, and this was the hand he's dealt with this, is the Marvel characters invariably, the person behind the mask is more interesting than the person in the mask, than the person, than the character, the superhero they're playing. And I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was having a conversation with somebody at work. If you go back to the origin of every Marvel character, you meet the alter ego first, and then they become Spider-Man, and then they become the Fantastic Four, and then they become Hulk, and then they become Daredevil. Okay. And it's like, you start with the character who they are. In all of the DC characters as they were introduced, and arguably years before, they were the hero first, and then they wrote who the characters were. You have no sense, other than that Wonder Woman apparently dusts statues for a living. You have no sense of what these people really do, other than Bruce Wayne spends money. Barry wants a job at a pet shop. Cyborg broods a lot. Again, it's like I said, those pieces are missing. And it's, yeah.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give a number of your number. You're giving two numbers. One is the last time you saw the first cut, and then this new cut. Is everyone prepared for that?
On do you want to set a scale? What's the top of the scale?
The scale
is it still Star Wars, or is it Wonder Woman?
No. Well, no. I don't know. It's 1 to 10, 10 being the best. I'm sort of using the superhero scale. Winter Soldier's 10. You could. Is that okay, or unless you guys want to redefine the scale?
Does that mean Captain America's a 15? If Winter Soldier's a 10? You're forgetting I don't like that movie.
Well, you choose
I
your
watched
10.
it again
What's your
lately.
10
It's like,
superhero movie?
Okay, my 10 super. Okay, all right. Okay,
Is that
my
okay,
10
or you want to just do it
my-
in DC Universe?
My 10. It might be more fair to do it inside the DC Universe. That'll give it a little more scale, right?
Or just, I think a
Then we start at
theoretical
5.
10 is
I
fine.
think it's a question of how much did you enjoy it. I don't think that
Yeah,
it has to
it's
be
more about
isolated to
comparison of
DC.
the two numbers.
Okay.
I think there's a theoretical 10 in your head. It doesn't have to be an actual movie, but what, you can look and say, what's keeping this from being a 10?
Right.
And that's where you're.
Maybe Superman the movie is your 10. I mean, I don't know, whatever your favorite, maybe it's Dark Knight, whatever your favorite DC movie is the 10.
Okay, Barry, do you want to go?
No, I'm going last.
You're going last, okay? Because you want to be ridiculed.
Because
I'll go. Since I said originally on the first viewing, I went back to my chart. I gave, and I'm using the all superhero movies as the chart. Winter Soldier's a 1, and Ang Lee's the Hulk is it.
No, you
Winter
got that
Soldier's
backwards.
a 10, and Ang Lee's Hulk is a 1. I had given Justice League a 6.5. On that scale is like The Dark World and stuff like that. I would upgrade it to a 7 on the second showing. I'm giving Justice League original cut a 7. I'm giving this a 5.5.
Okay. I would give the original Justice League a 4 and this new movie a 5.
Oof, tough grade.
Oof. Okay. So
it was a better film.
I'm going to invert Dave's. I'm going to give the original a 5.5, and I'm going to give this a 7.
Really?
And
okay.
I give it, and I'm that generous because I would never watch the epilogue again.
What was better about this?
I think the introduction of the characters is all better. I think
you just spent 15 minutes shitting on this movie, and now you're going to give it 7.
I'm surprised you went as high as you did.
It is really. I guess
better. Nothing added to the story. Nothing added to.
I would.
I disagree. I found the story to be a lot more logical. It made a lot more sense.
No, it didn't.
I know it did. It did. Everything's explained here where it's not explained in the other film. It
took 4 hours. It's like
it didn't take. It took 3.5.
Getting a perfect score on the SATs, but they gave you 6 weeks to do it. Like, there's no 4-hour movie. It's stupid. Okay,
you know
Barry?
what? But I also am the one who would choose to watch the extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings movies. Like I don't mind a long, and I know you don't mind a long movie either. But I know you hate the Lord of the Rings. I'm just using it as an example. Like
I didn't like long movies. This didn't justify it.
It was. I hear you. I didn't feel like this felt like 4 hours, but I think my original viewing of Justice League, I probably would have given it a 5. I think rewatching it now, I would give it 6.5 to 7, and I would give the Snyder cut an 8.
All right, Barry loses this round.
Wow,
there's no losing.
Okay,
an 8.
So anyway, I appreciate what you tried to do.
It's an 8 in the pantheon of DC movies.
Yeah.
What's your 10? What's your 10, Barry?
What's a 10?
I really like Man of Steel. I've said it. This is nothing new.
Whoa.
Oh,
you're saying you like Man of Steel better than the original Superman or Batman Begins?
No, I'm thinking of these movies.
Wonder Woman? You like Man of Steel better than Wonder Woman?
No, I would give Wonder Woman
a 13.
She's just lovely.
Her in those leather pants is just they could have if they added an hour of that, I would have given it.
Which is why, like I said, I didn't mind. I actually liked the interplay between the characters. I liked it was what was happening between them was much more logical and it made sense. I think, you have to apply kind of like Snyder logic to the whole thing, but so much of the other film doesn't fall in line and doesn't make sense. And it does seem very hacked together once you look at this.
It made more sense to me the second viewing than it did the first, but I do agree it felt more hacked together when you see this.
So wait a minute. I rated this movie the lowest Of all of us? Me?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah,
wow.
You did. Yeah.
Wow.
I think I liked it the least.
I will say,
I would definitely say
I'd
you
be
liked it
interested
the
in
least.
going back to see. I don't know. I think I gave the original one a 5, and I would upgrade half a point from there, and that's probably how I got to a 7, because I think this is a 1.5 better. It may not be a 7 on a legit scale, but it's definitely a 1.5 better than the other film.
You know what, though? I do have to go back to something Brian said earlier, and I don't remember if it was before we started recording or not. It might not have been. I don't see myself going back and rewatching this anytime soon. I feel like I've experienced it and I'm done with it.
I'd watch
I enjoyed
the other one.
the experience, but I also don't see myself sitting down to watch another 4-hour, run through of this. So I don't know if that means maybe I liked it less, or
so
I don't know.
I also, the other thing too, and with this, and I kind of feel like if you get a chance to do your SATs on the day after, okay, it's probably a whole lot easier. Okay. He knew what everybody hated about that film. He knew every single criticism of that film. And this is what he made. So, granted, he had to use the footage that he had and stuff like that.
About what anyone thought. I think he indulged himself and they let it happen.
Yeah.
Aspect ratio, 4 hours, that stupid end dream sequence that has no purpose whatsoever. The Joker.
That was where, honestly, I think he had me in his pocket until then. I really comparatively enjoyed this film much more. I made peace with this is Snyder's interpretation of the characters, which I don't like and I don't agree with. But the film itself, I was okay with until we got into the epilogue, and then I'm just like, really? You're going to drag out another character here, and you're going to say, oh well, next time, I just stood by right now as the world almost ended, but next time I'll step up, I promise. Okay. And by the way, don't worry about those nightmares you just had, because that could really never happen, because you won't get the sequel. Okay. I mean, it was just like, what? And the shoehorning Joker in there thing, I think was just such ridiculous fan service. Totally. It was just,
More than anything, it makes me really regret. Now, we said this before. We really regret that we're not going to get a full-on Ben Affleck Batman movie.
Absolutely.
He's apparently doing a cameo in the Flash movie, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably, unless, who knows, never say never. Maybe.
Yeah, you never know.
Maybe it'll happen. But I would much rather see that than the Batman movie that they're making.
If you take away the scenes where he's shooting the shit out of people, okay, and where he's trying to beat up Superman, okay, if you take just the Batman scenes and I add to that his little cameo in Suicide Squad, he's a good Batman. Okay.
I like him as Batman.
And I think, like I said, I think that and Wonder Woman were the best two things in this universe, and now they fucked that other one up too.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to forget that 1984 ever happened.
It's like I feel that way about both the movie and the year. So it's
poor DC. I don't know what they're gonna do.
It's a self-inflicted wound.
They're going to keep making movies. I mean, the Batman movie, maybe it'll be good, but how many interpretations do we need?
We got Suicide Squad coming out again. I mean,
yep.
James Gunn may be able to do something with it, but they had 2 horrific movies.
Now there's an online petition to remake, or to re-release Suicide Squad with it,
And they came out officially and said that's not happening.
There's no freaking way it's going to happen.
They're already letting James Gunn redo it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. What are we doing now? We're at least an hour and 15 minutes.
Let's do What's in the Box, or let's do Joe's Choice.
Okay.
Oh, I got one more thing to say.
So are we not doing For All Mankind? We're going to skip that?
We'll do that later.
Later or next?
Or no, another show.
Is that okay with you, Brian?
Sure. Oh yeah.
Okay. Best thing in the epilogue was the Bat Tank from Dark Knight Returns. Did you catch that shot of Superman and Batman? Batman standing on the tank from Dark Knight Returns, and yeah. So
yeah, I don't know.
And apparently in the final shot with the Martian Manhunter, if you're watching it on an Imax screen, which nobody could, when they pan back, I keep calling him Joss Whedon. Jack Snyder said that you can see in the background they're turning Wayne Manor into the Hall of Justice. But you can't really see it, I guess, watching it on a 75-inch screen because I couldn't see it.
Wow. I'll watch that last 5 minutes again and see if I can see
just
it.
to see if you can spot it.
I liked how they did it in what was the show they did? Was it in some show they found the judge? Was it The Flash?
Flash. It was one of the old Star Labs facilities.
Yeah.
And it looked just like the one in the cartoon, the Super Friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of that. We're going to go Joe's choice of segment. Show and tell, what's in my workshop,
what's in the
box, blah, blah, blah. Brian, did you want to go first or last?
I have two, so I'll go first and last.
Okay, there you go.
I'll start with this. I don't know if I talked about this on the show or off the show before. Does this look familiar?
No.
Oh, you did talk about this on the last time you were on. I know what this is.
Oh, yes, you did. So you're making an R2.
Are you 3D printing that leg?
This is a 3D printed leg. Yep. Yeah.
C3PO leg.
I think it might be too skinny. I can't.
It looks a little skinny, maybe, but it looks cool.
The dome is half scale, so I printed 3PO's leg half scale, but I think it's too small. So I think
if you prop the dome up, if the dome is raised a little,
that's not bad. Because it needs room for the hoop and stuff of the light.
Get yourself the small can of peanuts, okay, and put that on top of the leg, and then the dome, you'll be good. So.
All right.
So Brian talked about on the last time he was on, he got a metal R2D2 head at Galaxy's Edge store.
Galaxy's Edge,
and now he's making a Christmas Story leg lamp using 3PO's leg and R2's dome. It's awesome.
That is great.
At half scale.
Yeah.
At half scale. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna gold plate or some version of gold plate the leg.
I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna do about this. I've got some of the new chrome paint that comes from the chrome pen.
Yep.
And but then you have to coat it with a golden or yellow
shellac or something.
So I think I'm going to try doing that rather than getting it vacuum metallized. But the vacuum metallized place isn't very far away, so I could go do that. We'll see.
And what are you printing in? What material are you printing in?
This is an ABS.
Okay.
Oh, really? ABS tends to be.
There's some PLA that looks amazing. Some gold PLA that looks amazing.
It does, but it's got to be sanded. And
forget it.
Sanding PLA is a pain in the butt, which is why I print in ABS.
Right. Yeah.
And this is really easy to glue and really.
How many pieces is that?
4.
Oh wow.
Foot was one. The shin was one. The back was one, and this is one.
That's great.
That's great. Cool. It's very cool.
Neat.
All right, that's my workbench project for right now.
Todd,
Barry, what do you got? Oh, we'll go.
Okay,
sorry.
So, I was reminded that I have a Justice League Batmobile, which I had, it's just in my stack of Batmobiles. And I actually took it out last week and I was looking at it and I was thinking, yeah, it is a cool Batmobile. This is the same Batmobile from Batman versus Superman with a bunch of guns attached to it. And I'm looking at this and I realized for the first time on the back of the package, there is actually one in this series that I never bought. So,
which one?
Oh no. So
I got the Arkham Knight Batmobile. Okay.
Oh,
and so I now have completed this entire Jada Metal series, 1/24th scale Batmobile series.
This reminds me, Todd, in the last show, you were so happy that they finally called the Batmobile in the movie.
Yes.
And then Snyder cut it out.
Yep, he cut it out. But interestingly, this movie, when they're digging up the grave and Barry Allen calls Diana Wonder Woman, is the only time that has ever happened on screen in a DC film.
Really?
She has never been called Wonder Woman in anything other than the titles.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's a forgotten gap in my collection has been filled.
I think I have 2 of those from that series. I've got the 66 Batmobile and I've got the BVS one, I think.
These are great. I got to say they did a really good job with these, and I think at some point I gotta bust them all out and find another shelf because they're a good size, and yeah. But anyways, and I will say this Batmobile is cooler than the whole series of movies. So.
And I just wish they had made those figures so that you can put them in the cars. They're standing next to the Batmobiles. Makes no sense.
You can see them standing next to them, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you got?
All right, I don't know what this is. I guess this is a show and tell to be workbench, and I talked to you guys, I think off the air about them, but I did find. So we all have, Deltoff things,
yep.
and they still gather dust because the front is open. So I bought this clear stuff. It's at Home Depot. Clear corner edge protector. That this I'm showing you one, but I have a bunch of these long ones that have a clear. I'm hitting everything. Has a clear double-sided tape on it.
Oh,
so I'm going to. Jesus. I'm going to close in the edges of the Deltoff so it does not gather dust, and that I've heard people do that. So
I'm sorry, the edges of the what?
So the Deltoff is Todd. Pan your camera. Those are the IKEA Deltoff shelves, like your friend bought.
I have those. I didn't know that's what they were called.
But the side in the front, I'm pointing to my screen as if you could see it, is open, and they still gather dust, and the backs are closed.
Right.
So if you put this stuff on the door in the corner, you should be able to hopefully seal it so they don't get dusty anymore.
Oh, okay.
These are only like $4. I think the long ones are $4.50 at Home Depot, and they sell some. They make some with holes for nails.
Yeah,
but the ones with the tape is the ones you want.
I am, as I think I've said before, I am tape impaired. It would be impossible for me to affix those things without getting them. Like I could make marks, I could do everything, but the second I peel those little sticky things off, one would be stuck to my ear.
Yeah.
Another one would be attached to the wrong cabinet. It's just like, yeah. So
I was happy that I only need to do the front. I forgot that the back has the little has sort of
little wraps
sealed in the back. So we'll see. I'll let you know. I actually have to take it all out and dust it first before I can do it. So
that's a good time to do it when they're empty.
Yeah. Barry, what do you got?
I feel like it was maybe a year ago or so. One of our listeners, a guy named Darren Denzer, sent me a Micronauts battle cruiser. If you guys remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not 100% complete, and there were a couple pieces that were broken or whatever. And I actually I went out and I got a second one in a box that's not in great shape, but between the one that Darren sent me and this one, I was able to make a really good complete battle cruiser. Awesome. And it was not that much money, which was great because the one I bought, the box was there, but a lot of the pieces weren't. But I made sure, looking through all the pieces that were there, that they were the ones I was missing. So I was able to put together a really nice, now complete battle cruiser. And I've got a bunch of extra pieces that I'll probably just get rid of. But so, I was really appreciative when Darren sent me the one that he sent me. And now I've got a complete one in my collection, which is even cooler. So thanks again, Darren. But yeah, nice. This was always one of my favorite Micronaut vehicles. So.
So my last thing is on a similar vein. I've got a major birthday coming up this week.
Happy birthday.
So I found, been searching for this for a very long time, since I was 6 years old. And I'm going to hold it up and see if any of you can identify it, because it is a little out there.
Oh, the Silver Streak.
Supercar.
Oh, no.
Captain Action.
Captain Action Silver Streak.
Barry got it. Captain Action Silver.
Wow. That's in nice shape.
That's in great shape.
Looking for one in good shape for a long time.
Wow.
That's in great shape. I like that. And it's complete, right?
It is complete. Yeah. The only problem with it is it's got a little hole in the back where the thruster went for one, because it's a boat and a car.
Right.
But there's already a guy 3D printing a plate to replace that.
Oh, nice.
So
I know what it is, but I don't think I've ever seen one other than
made them
pictures.
For 1 year.
They're pretty rare.
I have never seen that other than in toy books.
Yeah, it's a rare toy.
They made it for 1 year in 1967. I saw it in the Sears Christmas catalog, and one ever since.
So are those like engine? You can see the engines inside of the.
Yeah,
look at that.
Oh, that's
you got to
cool.
get us a bunch of pictures of that.
Yeah,
that is
Boy,
really
that
cool.
does not look like a toy from the 60s. It is so much more detail to it than I would have
It's
thought.
more detailed, but it's also at the same
very
time,
deep,
it's got a neat retro look to it, even for them.
Yeah, and it's got rocket launchers on the side.
Oh, and look at the wheels on it. That is so cool.
And if you steer it with the steering, it actually does steer the.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that in books and I've seen it in catalogs, but I've never seen one in person either.
Yeah, and
I just knew what it was from.
They're made of super brittle plastic, so they always get destroyed. So I'd be trying to be very gentle. Do you have a
Captain Action to display in that?
I do. I'm looking for one from the period without legs because it's really tight, and I don't want to break it putting it in. So I'm gonna get him Action Boy, which is even harder to find. Get them both legless, so they fit in here better.
Yep.
But that's and as like I teased you guys, I said it's partially comic book related. I also got this to go with it. That's
nice.
an Action comic book with the car on the cover.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
A lot of the GI Joe vehicles from the 60s, some of them were made of blow molded plastic, even like the motorcycles and the race car, and they're equally fragile. Like I've seen many of them with pieces missing like that.
Yeah, it's and some pieces snap together and they're not snap. I'm very nervous about snapping them together. I almost rather like file them so they fit together very nicely and don't snap because it's just going to sit on a shelf. Anyway,
it's amazing how we've been collecting toys for so long that I can remember, and I know you guys can, 20 years ago when the stuff didn't seem as fragile and brittle as it is now, and 2 years later. I mean, I know it wasn't, but some of it was, but we were maybe not as precious with it now. I mean, you guys know, because I talked over the weekend, I had been moving a lot of stuff out of my display cases and cleaning and packing some stuff away. And it's the stuff, 50-plus-year-old toys are just, they're just getting so fragile.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, and we treat these things as collectibles, but they were meant to survive a couple of years.
Right.
There was no intent whatsoever that these things would be around 50 years later. And it's amazing the condition that some of this stuff is in.
What year is that vehicle?
Said, every time
65?
I look in my display case, I see something that looks like a little worm laying on the ground, which was a Kung Fu grip finger that just spontaneously fell off one day.
That Silver Streak was 1967.
Yeah, 67. Yeah. Okay. So
67 Christmas catalog. Yep.
So that's as old as me.
Yeah, and whoever owned it, and a funny story about this. I've had it on my eBay search list forever, and one morning it popped up. It was the Silver Streak and its box for the price of what you would pay for a Silver Streak, and of course it was already gone. It was bought within the first hour. A week later, the same Silver Streak shows up without the box for the same price.
The guy just needed the box,
which is the one I bought. I bought it immediately.
Wow!
And so the guy got a free box.
That's great.
And I just, but I don't care about the box. I just wanted the car.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay, that was a long one, and not without its controversy. Well, we'll all make up and be friends again.
You guys respect me a little less by the end of the show. It's okay.
Yeah.
Were we supposed to counter that? I'm sorry.
No.
We all missed our cue.
That was my statement. Look, 380 shows in. I know what to expect.
Okay. Barry, you're a kind man. That's all. I'm just saying.
I like what I like, and I've never been shy about it.
It was no Willow, but it was. It was
right.
Now we need to rewatch. Oof.
Yeah.
Wait till the series comes out.
Oh, God. Okay. Anyway, so thank you, Brian, for coming.
We'll be seeing you again soon because we got another topic we didn't get to.
Yeah, we got other topics to do. And
you didn't ask.
Who died? What?
I've got a last thought. It's a quick one, but I got a last thought.
Okay.
I just thought it would be worth saying as we record this tonight on the 23rd of March, it's our friend Sean Huxter's birthday. So happy birthday, Sean.
Oh, happy birthday, Sean.
Then I've got to say happy 90th birthday to William Shatner.
This is true too.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yesterday.
And it would have been Leonard Nimoy's 90th birthday as well because they were born the same day.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Captain Kirk.
And Sean.
And Sean.
And Sean.
And Brian, apparently, because you've got a birthday you said this week.
On Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, okay. And my son Josh's birthday is tomorrow.
Happy birthday, everybody.
Yes.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.